Okay, so welcome back to my set series. Today, we will be learning about rational numbers. So rational numbers, as you know, are also just fractions. Okay? So the first thing that we need to learn about fractions is how to reduce, okay? Reduce fractions into lowest terms. Okay? So to reduce fractions into lowest terms, kailangan natin muna malaman kung ano bang meaning ng lowest term. No? So, meaning ng lowest term is, kunyari, meron kang fraction na A over B, yung A, yung GCF ng A and B ay equal na sa 1. Okay? So, yun lang ang meaning ng lowest term. No? So, dapat yung A and B, yung GCF nila ay equal sa 1. So, how do we reduce fractions into lowest term? No? So, what we do is we cancel or divide the numerator and denominator by their GCF. Okay? So, let's do an example. So, for example, we want to reduce 12 over 28 into lowest terms. Okay? So, ano ba ang GCF ng 12 and 28? So, I hope by now you know na how to get the GCF. Okay? So, yung GCF neto ay 4. Tama? So, 12 divided by 4 over 28 divided by 4. Okay, we divide the numerator and denominator by the GCF. So, you get 3 over 7. Okay? So, another technique here is that i-factor natin yung numerator. Okay? Factor natin yung numerator. So, yung 12 ay equal sa 3 times 2 times 2. Yung 28 ay 7 times 2 times 2. Okay? And then, we cancel common terms sa numerator and denominator. So, may 2 dito, may 2 dito, may another pair of 2's. So, we are left with 3 over 7. We call these numbers proper fractions. So, we have two types of fractions. No? So, the first one is the proper, and the second one is the improper. Okay? So, the easiest way to remember this is kapag may fraction ka na A over B, if yung A is less than B, then proper fraction siya. Kapag A is greater than B, improper fraction siya. Okay? So, an example of a proper fraction is, kunyari, 3 over 5. Mas malaki yung 5 kaysa sa 3, so this is a proper fraction. Pero kunyari, 7 over 2, this is an improper fraction kasi mas malaki yung 7 kaysa sa 2. Okay? So, one of the things na we do sa mga improper fractions is to convert, okay? Convert improper fractions into mixed numbers. So, So, ano ba yung mixed numbers? No? So, as the word itself says, it is a number, then a fraction. No? So, for example, let's convert 7 over 2 into a mixed number. No? So, how do we do that? We divide the numerator by the denominator. No? So, 7 divided by 2. So, this is 3, then 6, then 1. So, we have a remainder of 1. No? So, ito, yung magiging number natin, then yung fraction natin ay magiging remainder over the numerator nung original fraction. Over the divisor. Okay, so 3, then 1 over 2. Okay, so yan yung conversion natin from improper fractions to mixed number. So, paano naman kung pabaliktad naman? So, kunyari, gusto natin convert yung mixed number na 2 and 1 over 8 into a improper fraction. So, madali lang to. What we do is we multiply the denominator by the number and then we add yung numerator. Okay? and then divided by the denominator na original. So what do I mean by that? No? 8 times 2 plus 1 all over 8. So this is now equal to 8 times 2, 16, plus 1 is 17. Then divided by 8. No? So denominator multiplied by the number plus the numerator divided by the original denominator. Okay? So here are some problems to solve. So convert negative 5 and 2/3 into improper fractions, and try converting 112 over 7 into a mixed number, also negative 49 over 5. So we also do comparisons, no, of fractions. No? So kunyari, we want to compare two fractions, whether they are greater, whether fraction A is greater than fraction B, or fraction B is greater than fraction A, ganon. So, for example, A over B, no, is greater than C over D if A times D is greater than B times C. Okay? So, let's do some examples. 5 over 8 or 4 over 7. Ano yung mas malaki? So, paano natin malalaman? So, yung 5 dito ay A, yung B dito ay 8, yung C dito ay 4, yung D dito ay 7. Okay? So, ay we check kung A times D ay greater than B times C. So, A dito ay 5, D dito ay 7, then greater than ba siya by B times C by 8 times 4? Then this is 35. It is surely greater than 32. Tama? So we know na 5 over 8 is greater than 4 over 7. Okay? Ganun lang yun. Ganun lang. So, for example, we are comparing mixed numbers. So, kunyari, 10 and 2/3 versus 8 and 5/3. Ang pinaka-important na gawin dito ay kailangan i-make sure natin na yung fractional part, okay? Yung fractional part ay proper fraction. Okay? So we simplify 8 and 5/3 into a proper fraction. So since yung 2/3 ay proper fraction niya, we can just leave this alone. Then yung 5/3, kailangan natin gawing proper fraction. No? So this is basically 8 plus 1 and 2/3. Tama? Yung 5/3 ay 1 and 2/3. So if we add these, equal na to sa 9 and 2/3. Okay? So now we are just comparing 10 and 2/3 versus 9 and 2/3. Okay? And as you can see here, mas malaki yung number natin nandito sa left side. So, yung automatically, yung mas malaking number, yun na kagad yung mas malaki. Okay? Pero kapag hindi, you just need to compare. So, for example, you have 9 and 2/3 versus 9 and 4 over 5. So, you need to compare 9 and 2/3 and 9 and 4/5. I-check mo lang ngayon yung number, no? So, pareha sila na number, so you just disregard that. No? So, now you check yung fraction. Ano ba mas malaki, yung 2/3 or yung 4/5? So you can do that by using yung technique natin kanina. So yung 2/3 and 4/5, you multiply A and D, so 2 times 5. Greater than ba siya ng 3 times 4? So 10 is not greater than 12, so you know na 4/5 is greater than 2/3. Okay, so dito, so 9 and 2/3 versus 9 and 4/5, mas malaki yung 9 and 4/5. Okay? So that is all for today. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below and I will try to answer them. So I hope to see you again next time.